governors across the country to outsource heavily lobbied public services. Responding to a proposal by the University of Southern Maine Faculty Senate, key members of the UMaine System Board of Trustees have affirmed their commitment to maintaining 3 USM campuses. USM is trying to close a $16 million budget gap, and administrators have proposed cutting a number of academic programs and faculty positions. Last week, the school's Faculty Senate suggested closing one of 3 campuses to save money, but UMaine System spokesman Dan DeMerit says all 3 campuses have important roles.
Leaders on the board and university leadership, and we thought it was important to make it clear to the community, the campuses, our students, if considering attending our school, that we're going to have a strong presence in Wilson Island for the foreseeable future.
The idea of closing a campus has been discussed informally for years, with many noting the difficulties of multiple campuses for students, staff, faculty, and administrators. Maine Independent Senator Angus King's back from visits to India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Qatar. He says regional security issues were a major topic and that he was surprised when he met the new president of Afghanistan, Ashraf Ghani.
First thing he said, I shook his hand. Angus came from Maine. He said, "Oh yes." I said, "I know Maine." And he pointed to his arm. He said, "I got many mosquito bites." And you said late.
King says he was able to spend time with Maine soldiers, sailors, and airmen during his visit to the region. He says he also saw one of the command centers in operation directing airstrikes against ISIS in Syria and Iraq. And police say a second man has died due to a suspicious apartment fire in Biddeford last month. 21-year-old James Ford died last night at a hospice facility in Scarborough. Firefighters rescued Ford and his roommate from the apartment on September 18th. The roommate, 23-year-old James Moore, died a couple days later from smoke inhalation. Investigators say the fire was a case of arson. It's 22 minutes before 6 o'clock. A new survey concludes that bear hunters spend $35.4 million across the state each year, mostly in Aroostook County, the Maine Highlands, and western Maine. The survey, conducted for the Maine Office of Tourism and the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, also finds that bear hunting and related activities contribute nearly $53 million to the state's economy and support 565 jobs. According to the survey, of the 21,000 bear hunters in Maine, 7,000 come from out of state. Susan Sharon recently spoke with a group of them about whether they would continue bear hunting in Maine if a statewide referendum to ban the use of bait, hounds, and traps is approved next month.
The 6 men sitting around this table at Bob Parker's hunting lodge in Wilton, Maine, all come from away. Most have saved and planned for a week-long bear hunt for at least a year. By the time all is said and done, they'll have invested several $1,000s apiece for the license, the guide service, accommodations and meals, gas for the ride up to Maine, and maybe a lobster or 2 to bring as presents for the trip home. Greg Riso is from Long Island. He says his trip was a birthday present.
Birthday, 60th birthday party. She had 55 of my friends come. They all donated. Okay, everybody came in camel, so it was a smashing party.
Riso has a hunting camp in New York where he typically hunts deer. He'd never been to the Maine woods before or tried hunting for bear. This is his last day of the bear hunt, and though he's only glimpsed a pair of cubs, he says it's been a worthwhile experience getting out in the woods and getting to know the other hunters.
It's a great place to be at. I'm happy to come. To get a bear is a bonus. You know what I mean? It's a crapshoot. You know, it comes in front of bait and you harvest an animal, but it doesn't come easy.
In hindsight, looking at it, it's probably the toughest thing I've ever done.
Ed Peters of Taunton, Mass. says his bear hunting trip started out slow. He spent the first few days sitting in a tree stand for several hours at a time, watching a bait site from a distance, but no bears turned up. So Peters tried hunting with hounds instead. At first, he says, it started off as an hour-long wild goose chase. The dogs got on a scent that turned out to be nothing. Then they hit on something.
We hiked 2.5 hours up, across a mountain, down a stream, and lucky. Happened to him.
Peters says he picked the Stony Brook Outfitter Guide Service because it was recommended as a well-run operation, respectful of animals. Katie Hansberry of the group Mainers for Fair Bear Hunting takes issue with that characterization. She says the use of bait, hounds, and traps saw interest in so-called fair chase hunting increase when they did away with bait and hounds. Fair chase is when hunters stalk and kill their prey without that kind of assistance.
You look at those other states, as soon as they restored fair chase, the interest in bear hunting increased. They had more hunters, revenue in those states from there being more bear hunters, and more bear tag sales went up. Same thing is going to happen here in Maine. The people that want to be involved in fair chase bear hunting, they're not coming here to Maine. They're going to Colorado, Oregon, Washington. They don't want to come here and participate or try and compete with these unfair practices.
Greg Riso and Ed Peters say they understand that hunting isn't for everyone, but it's in their blood. They say they would have no interest in fair chase bear hunting in Maine if the referendum passes. Like Tony Fasano of Staten Island, New York, they think it would be virtually impossible to control the bear population, let alone bag a bear.
These woods are so vast. There's no way you're going to walk in these woods and just hope to stumble upon a bear. It's not going to happen.
Fasano says he wouldn't come back to Maine to hunt either. He says, for one thing, he'd be too resentful.
It just really rubs me the wrong way, just thinking that somebody would even want to think about destroying this, really. Because you can't go anywhere like this. Just can't. You know, just the state, the woods, it's beautiful. You know, it's a beautiful place.
The hunter sentiment echoes a 2004 survey of resident and non-resident hunters who said they would also look for opportunities to bear hunt in other states or Canada if the use of bait, hounds, and traps were discontinued in Maine. A recent poll by the Pan-Atlantic SMS group found that more than half of respondents opposed the referendum to restrict bear hunting. And in the most rural part of the state, where hunting is a way of life and where most bear hunting takes place, more than 64% of those surveyed say they plan to vote no. For MPBN News, I'm Susan Sharon.
This is MPBN Radio. I'm Nora Flaherty. Your Maine weather forecast in a few minutes, but first this story. Emotional scenes in Manchester, Maine this morning as a critically injured war veteran was presented with a specially adapted custom-built home. The so-called smart home, which can be controlled by a handheld computer, was built with the help of a foundation set up by Hollywood actor Gary Sinise. Tom Porter was at the ceremony.
On April 10th, 2012, Army Staff Sergeant Travis Mills was on his third tour in Afghanistan when he stepped on a landmine. He lost portions of both arms and both legs and became the fifth quadruple amputee from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan to survive his injuries. 2.5 years later, Mills, who is originally from Michigan, arrives at his new home in style, in a motorcade, a guest of honor at a special dedication ceremony.
All right, let's give a round of applause to Travis Mills.
Using prosthetic legs, Mills walks unaided onto the stage, which is set in front of a giant American flag. Behind the flag is the soon-to-be unveiled 4,000 square foot, $600,000 home. The imposing residence was built with the help of a couple of non-profits, including the Gary Sinise Foundation, a group set up by the Hollywood actor, perhaps best known for his portrayal of Lieutenant Dan Taylor in the movie Forrest Gump. Sinise, who was unable to attend this ceremony, set up the organisation in 2011 to honour and help veterans, first responders and their families. The foundation's Chris Cuban says the specially adapted home is a way of saying thank you to people like Travis Mills.
Thank you for your service, your sacrifice, your determination, and resolve to be strong through the whole process. We hope that this house will give you and your family the independence that most of us take for granted every single day.
You've been through the ringer enough. You've done enough for me for a lifetime.
Struggling to hold back tears, Mills pays tribute to his wife Kelsey, who joined him on stage along with their 3-year-old daughter Chloe.
So I'm happy. Yeah. So I'm proud to be moving to Maine.
Mills has struggled to overcome his injuries as the subject of an award-winning documentary and has garnered